Can you tell me about your experience gardening? Possibly growing up or...
I can.
Yeah?
I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania, and my father said, "Oh, let's make an area for gardening." And so I remember from the time I was a little kid, each of us were allowed to have our own little garden. I had strawberries, and then I had rhubarb, and I had radishes in my garden. As we got older, that was part of our job, was to weed, which we loved, and harvest, and I just really loved working in the soil, and it's always been something that gives me peace. And then I came out here. I knew one person in Oregon, and my friend said, "You can stay here till you get a place, as long as you do gardening for us." And I'm like, "Hey, that's a great deal. I love gardening." It's been something that I really enjoy doing, and my girls, they enjoy harvesting. Not so much the weeding and planting. I think they're getting a real positive image from it. And I was asking my 16-year-old, I said, "Well, what do you remember?" And she said, "I just remember being in the house, and you'd be outside for a while, and then you'd come back in and you go, 'Look what I got out of the garden.'" And she said, "Mom, it was so amazing because I didn't even like vegetables." And just that feeling of, like, "Mom, that was so cool that we could take stuff to people and say, 'This came from our garden.'" I was just glad that they felt good about it.
What got you in with growing gardens? What
Well, that's
drew you there?
a good question. When I worked for Multnomah County, I worked for Early Head Start. So I did some research because that was something I thought would be beneficial for my clients, even if it was a plant or, just something so their kids could also do that. So I looked up growing gardens and found out about their program and got some applications, and a couple of my clients applied, and they built a raised bed garden, and I think they had limited funds at the time. So I called Growing Gardens and said, "I use this program with my clients, and right now, I'm not working, and I could use some help. I don't need somebody to build it for me, but I certainly could use some resources, some ideas." So they came and they worked. I have a probably 20 by 15 spot, and they worked that for me. So it was really nice to have kind of a gardening buddy. So that peer part of it is probably one of my favorites, because that was really nice, and it forces me because I am so busy.
So you said you helped some of your clients get connected with growing gardens too?
Yeah, as a social worker, I also have families and coworkers, and so I would take it to work, and I would take it for my clients, and we do tastings, and for a lot of my clients over the years, many of them live in the poverty guidelines, and it's really hard when people are always giving to you. And I think just, again, it's that feeling of pride of being able to do something and nurture it. And, they may just have a little tiny garden or just a little herb garden, but it was something that made them feel really good. And their kids were then eating stuff that was organic and learning about growing. And, that's what I feel like, if you can teach that, it's really good to have, people doing that. I really like all the educational things that Growing Garden does. And Growing Gardens was always, it wasn't all just like, this is information in the handout papers. It was really, this is how you do it, and let's, practice. I remember when we were talking about our gardens, we actually all were like writing out, okay, what do you want to plant, and where are you going to put it, and how far apart. And so by the time we left, we had an actual plan for how we were going to put that in the garden.
Do you guys actually support each other as far as when you grow, pass on to your neighbors?
All the time.
Oh, awesome.
The guy that's in not this house here, but right next, he's like so helpful with people in the community. He's also a member of Friends of Trees, and we exchange stuff back and forth. And then, like, with the plants that I have, I'll say, "What don't you have?" And, well, so we try to do that, and he does a really good job. And at work, all my coworkers, most of them have gardens. We just, I happen to get really good rosemary, so I bring in rosemary. Somebody else does better with dill, and we just pass it along. And I would like to see more of that in the community. I think people are kind of isolated, and people don't really know their neighbors. We've been here a long time, so we know some. I really encourage people, and I know that people that are are living on, low income things. They can't use their Oregon Trail, but they can use their WIC cards at the farmers market. I'd like to see more, and I would definitely be involved if there were some events.
I'm curious your thoughts on home gardening and a community that's kind of underserved.
I think it's unfortunate that it's not represented as well as it could be. I see little coffee shops come in, and then next thing I know, there's another AMPM. Do we really need another AMPM? Do we really need another, 7-Eleven? I don't think so. The only thing I would say is some people think, oh, I can't garden. I know when I started, I went way in over my head and didn't know what I was doing. And then I had a friend that was really wonderful who was like, what the heck are you doing? This is how you do it, and came and helped me. So just by having that, I was able to, move things around and change things. And I think for people that want to do that, to be able to access, some answers to their questions. And then just what are some events? Where can you go? Even where can you go to get cheap plants? Where can you go to get starts? What are the farmers markets? And just information so people know what they can access. I think that would be really helpful because it gets really overwhelming.